Screaming Key. Girl, I forgot what this thing.
We are live. It says live.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Listen, let me tell y'all. When I say that this technology has not been my friend, I just want to double, triple check that we are on
We
and
are live.
on Facebook.
Yes, we are. We're going to go ahead and pin us to the top.
So why is it lying to me? Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Why is this thing?
Hey.
It's as the young people say, it's playing with me.
Out here playing games.
Girl,
Games.
playing all kinds of games. Oh my goodness. So, oh my gosh, first of all, welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Sound Off, BGSO. It is just lovely to see you all's faces. Hi, Chantal.
Hey.
Hey, sis. Hey. Hey, Edwina. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Dr. Woodland.
Okay.
Yes, honey.
Hey, y'all. Listen, y'all better stop playing. So, and hey, Nafisa, how are you, sis? How you doing?
What's that, sis?
That's
What's up, Dr. Woodland?
listen. Y'all gonna make me blush all night tonight. Don't even do it. But I just wanted to first of all just welcome everyone to another episode. It is Thursday, and it's the fourth Thursday. First of all, how did April just fly by? It's the fourth Thursday of the month, and I hope that you all have been paying close attention to our posts and our flyers because we shared that we only stream episodes the first through fourth Thursdays of the month. And this happens to be the first month that we've encountered since launching BGSO, where there are 5 Thursdays. So just to let you know, we will miss you next week. But let's get into it. So this month, we have been talking all about relationships. And yes, I still say that with a big, bright smile. And we've really gotten into it, ladies. I mean, we went from taking a look at, the pre-work that women of color, and honestly, one thing I want to say is even though, at BGSO, we center and amplify the voices of women of color. We really appreciate the fact that our audience is really wide and diverse. And so we're centering our perspectives and our experiences. And we've been hearing lots of great feedback from our viewers that they've also found what we've been sharing really helpful and applicable in their own lives, right? So I just wanted to say that and put that out there. So thank you to all the folks who do not identify as women of color, who do not identify as women. Thank you so much for your viewership. So again, we've been talking about relationships, and we started taking a look at what we must do before we enter a relationship. So what does it look like to do that self work and to start to lay out your goals and your expectations before even attaching yourself to someone else, right? In that kind of way. And then we looked at, well, once you're in a relationship, what is it that, we should do so that we remain intact and don't lose ourselves? I don't know about you, but there have been many of days that I felt like I had lost myself in various types of relationships. And so that's what we talked about on the second episode. And then for our third episode, that was all the way lit. We had a therapist and fellow BGSO group member, Carrie Holland Lee, on, and she was talking about what she sees just from the clinical perspective. And so she shared with us, that she sees a lot of couples, but especially a lot of women of color who come in still dealing with past traumas. We even talked about the stigma around seeking therapy or counseling. And so now we're kind of like wrapping it all up. Who is anyone watching us live right now? If you are watching live or even watching in the replay, I don't know why, but today I'm like in a whole roll call kind of mood. So please let us know where you are tuning in from. We're in Baltimore, but we would love to know where you're tuning in from. Just let us know in the chat. So, all right. So the first thing, I want to jump right into, I've seen a lot of posts here lately. I don't know if I've been hyper vigilant, ladies, just because I know we've been talking about relationships, but I've seen a whole lot of posts that involved lots of women, but I'm really paying attention to women of color here, right? A lot of us, especially Black women, have been just flat out declaring what it is that we want in a partner. So I see y'all heads, just a nodding, because I've been really paying attention
Mhm.
to the fact that we've been stepping out there. And once you post something on social media, it's out there, right? So we've been putting it out there, letting the world know what it is that we expect, that we want, and what it is that we deserve in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was even one, and this came up yesterday, right? And I can't even remember who the original poster was. I'm gonna have to go back and find out and give you credit, right? But Chantel saw, you know which one I'm talking about, right, sis?
Yeah.
So there was one that kind of crossed my plate yesterday. I know Nafisa and Edwina saw it as well,
Mhm.
where it says something like, I don't care how independent I am, right? I still want a man that can, pray, protect, provide, and lead. I don't know if it was in that order. But what I want to know is, like, first of all, what do you all think about this, like, declaration? That one and many others that we've been seeing on social media. And then also, why do you think that women of color, especially Black women, why do you think we feel the need? Because I'm seeing this kind of come up more and more, and I'm all here for it. So I'm not questioning it in a negative way. But I do want to know, why is it that you feel like we have the need to even make such declarations publicly? What do you think, Chantal?
Well, I definitely commented on the post yesterday. And I think really because as you grow, we've been talking about relationships and the work that we've been doing. And so you recognize what you're looking for or what you want to be a part of, right? In your relationships, especially your romantic relationships. And so that post really resonated with me because it's like, yes, I do want a man who can lead, who is my provider, who's a protector, and all of those things, right? And so it resonated with my spirit. And I was just like, yes. But I think the second part for me, after I thought about it, was, are you ready to be a partner to that person that you're asking for? And I was like, let me check myself and make sure I'm doing my work, or right?
Uh-huh.
Because then you start to think about, well, what type of woman do you need to be to attract a man like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I got really excited. I said, well, me and BGSO group, we've been doing our work this month around relationships. And so I kind of feel like this is a excellent way to wrap up the series in saying, yes, we know what we want that outcome relationship to look like, but we are working on ourselves as Black women. And so if we're working and doing our healing work, we can proclaim what we want in our relationships. So, and you have not because you ask not. So we're asking.
And in many ways, we're not even asking, honey. We are telling. Okay. I see Georgia. Georgia says she saw it too. Thank you, sis. I know you saw that. And she is joining us from New Carrollton, and Marianne is tuning in from Pittsburgh. Yay, Marianne.
Hey,
Pittsburgh. Absolutely. And so again, I want us to continue to talk about, so Edwina, again, why now? Why do you think that Black women especially are making these declarations, about what it is that we want in a man? What do you think is beneath all that?
I was thinking about, well, first of all, I guess to answer the first part about, what did I believe about even like the statement itself? And I was just like, absolutely. Like, like, why shouldn't I want somebody who to protect me? Why shouldn't I want somebody to pray with me, somebody to provide and things like that? Yes, I am capable of doing it myself, but I'm old school, traditional, or whatever you want to call it, biblical. I do believe that women, like we weren't put on this earth just for ourselves. That in the end, like we were created for relationship. And I do feel like, as helpmates, which I feel like, women, we are helpmates, and we were called to this relationship with a partner that is able to provide, to protect, and whatever the other thing was. I really do think that's the whole part of the whole relationship between partner, whether it's man, woman, or however way you all want to call it, what y'all want to call it. But I think that part of the reason, I think people just see us as the strong woman, situation, the independent. And there has been a lot of things, whether it's like the media who portrays Black women as these independent women, they don't need a man or whatsoever. And a lot of us are very ambitious, and we carry it, we carry the load independently. And so that view that people see with us doing it by ourselves, it is almost like they assume like, oh, okay, well, she don't need a man because she doing it by herself and she look like she carrying it and she's good. But at the end of the day, no, I'm not good. Yes, I can do it all by myself, but that doesn't mean that that's something that I want to do. Right. So that's what I see. I think it's just like the persona that is put out there, around women of color, that makes it so hard for us that we have to make that declaration. No, just because you see me this way doesn't mean this is what I want,
Right. No, I love that you brought that up. And, I'd be remiss if I did not mention, the killing of that young lady, Micaiah, right? And the reason why I bring that up is because I saw a post actually a few moments ago. Hi, Consuela. A few moments before it's going live. And it actually was a post, I think it might have been my little cousin who posted it. She's about 18, 19. But anyway, she posed a question around, why aren't we protected? Right. And so, yeah, I bring this situation up, which is around violence, right? But I think that it's all in many ways related. I don't think that there's a line between the violence against Black women and, Black women feeling the need to declare that we want to be protected and loved and led, right? Yeah. And prayed with and prayed for. I don't think that those two things are isolated. I think they're very much conjoined, right? And I think there's this notion that is always perpetuated. It's perpetuated out there. It's perpetuated in here around how strong we are. And then when people see us only as strong, right? Only as deserving of lethal force, only as deserving of part-time love, only as deserving of abuse or domestic violence, only as deserving of insults, right? And assaults, right? I think that that's where that violence against Black women comes from, right? And I think that is definitely connected and tied to, a lot of Black women now declaring, saying, yeah, like I am strong and I'm proud of being that, and I am independent. I'm proud of being that, and I need someone to protect me, and to love me and to lead me. So I needed to definitely bring that up, because we cannot be BGSO and not talk about, we're talking about relationships. And again, this topic has been broad for us all month. We've always said it wasn't just about romantic relationships. So when we're seeing Black women and brown women say, I want love, I deserve to be protected, I deserve to be, to be held up high. And so what does that look like? Who are we talking to? I think we're talking to everybody. Just saying. Nafisa, back to the quote. Sorry, but I absolutely, I had to draw that comparison, because for me, there's no ray of sunlight between these two situations. So what do you think about Black women, making these declarations now, and why do you think that there's a need to do so?
I did see that post, and I think I loved it. I hearted the post, and it definitely resonated with me. And I just think that we're in this season where I'm seeing it constantly on my feed and on Facebook and IG, where we are doing that self-work. And when you're working on yourself and we're feeling, and we are able to proclaim and declare and ask for what we want and what we need, and in our relationships, especially our romantic relationships. So I think that's where that's coming from. That self-work allows us that confidence to feel like we can walk in our truth and speak authentically and rawly for what we want, and not walking on the eggshells, not beating around the bush. This is what I want. This is what I need. Right. And as far as that other piece, the second part of it is definitely that that double-edged sword of the strong Black woman, which we've talked about several times. That narrative is no longer serving us. And, you know, historically, we have been strong and we are strong, but that doesn't mean that we, like you said, we don't need love. And we want that permission to be able to be soft and to be vulnerable and to say it's okay to ask for help and to say that you need and want love and you want to have a man that protects you and prays with you and loves you, and to know that that's okay to do that. But I think historically, like from society and what we've seen, we start to feel like maybe you don't want to be seen as weak. But that strong piece, although we're strong, we still are women, and we still are soft, and we still want to be vulnerable. We still want to be taken care of, protected, and loved. And like you said, yes, we're independent and we can do all those things ourselves, but that doesn't mean we don't want that companionship and that partner to love and live our life with.
No, absolutely. I mean, you brought up so many great points. And I think that that's where that binary thinking, creeps into, I think it creeps into us in many ways. And we have some things that we need to dismantle, as Chantel shared, that we have some self-work that we need to do. But I also just think it creeps into our communities, right? And it just kind of, it permeates throughout everything. And so people see us as either or. Either, I can't hold a candlelight to you, or I can walk all over you. You know what I mean? And not like, yes, I already know that you can hold your own, and I'm going to walk beside you. Right. And I know that is what we should do as partners, is we should be walking together and not worrying about who's in front of who's ahead of who's above who. Right. Any other final thoughts before I move on to, I do have another question for us, but I wanted to wrap up. Anything else you wanted to say about that, especially Chantel, because I know we were talking about it yesterday.
No, I'm good. I think everyone, hit the nail on the head with what we talked about. So, yeah.
Thank you. And so my next question would be then, thinking about potential partners, and some of us on here, well, Nafisa is in a relationship. Look, there should be no mystery about that, honey. Okay. The rest of us. Okay. But we're all strong and independent women. And so I just, I'm really curious, what would you want a potential partner to know? Like, what might you add if you were talking directly to a potential partner as a strong, independent woman? What would you want them to know?
I cannot wait for you to lead me.
Look at Chantel. She's like, lead the way, honey.
Listen, I am ready to play my position. I am ready to be the behind the scene, baby. I got your back. You got this. Oh, you need me to help. Oh, you need me to step in. Oh, okay. I got you. I'm ready for that, and I wasn't always, it took a lot of self-work and healing to be okay with being feminine, embracing my femininity and saying, I don't want to be seen as strong all the time. Right. And so I don't want to be seen as the dominant, strong Black woman who always has it together. Baby, come on up in here. Listen, you are you are wanted, you are valued, you are appreciated. And please let me take this cape off and let you come in here and lead us,
Please.
And yes. Yeah. And so that, from you see this big, yes. And I think there are so many of us out here who are like, yes, we are ready for that. We're ready for our men to take their rightful positions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love how you led with, I can't wait for you to leave.
Yes.
I mean, she enthusiastically declared. She didn't ask you to. She said, I can't wait for you to. Okay. So let's do this. Absolutely. I mean, that really, wow. Yeah, I'm speechless for a moment. Anybody?
I know she like, we could move, drop mic, we could move on.
I mean, wow. I mean, one thing that I think about, is all the stress and anxiety that we carry in our bodies and our hearts. you know, as women of color. And I think about that, and I think about, you know, how much of that comes from not just going through the day to day and moving through the world and moving, you know, navigating various relationships with the skin that we're in. But then when you layer on the fact that there's an expectation for us to bear it all, there's an expectation for us to handle it all, and an expectation for us to do that with a smile. I think about, you know, just many of the health conditions that are more prevalent in the, you know, in the Black community in particular, especially, you know, amongst Black women, and how we're more susceptible to various, you know, diseases and illnesses. And, you know, I can't help but wonder, you know, how much of that is attributed to a lot of the stress that we carry around around our relationships. Again, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, but our work, all of our relationships. How much of that has to do with that? Yeah. What would you say to a potential partner, Nafisa? Nafisa, did you hear me?
What did you say? What would I say?
I said, yeah. What would you say?
Okay. Well, if I were single, because I am very much married, I think that I would just let them know, like she said, that you know, wanting them to lead, and that I want a partner to just like enjoy life with, and to grow with, and to build with. And that I also want to have my individuality, because I think that's so important, which we touched on in previous things. So I think just simply just that, like I want to have someone to grow with, I want a partner to build with, and to also allow us to be our individual selves as well, because I think that's important. I think that's something that people tend to leave out when you're entering a relationship. You don't really talk about that you still want to have that individuality, and I think that's something that is important to speak up about from the very beginning.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And there are many reasons why many of us don't feel comfortable and confident, you know, speaking up about that. And so, you know, just keeping that in mind, that that's something we should absolutely be able to do, especially in a healthy relationship. But then what do we do when, you know, we don't feel confident or comfortable enough to do that? Yeah. How about you, Edwina? What are you saying to the potential partners out there?
It's crazy because I was actually having this conversation. I am talking to someone. When I say talking, I mean like on the phone talking, not no dating and stuff like that. Like, and this question did come up, and so I was very vocal about that. You know, like really stating how I am a very driven person, very ambitious. I am independent. Yes, I am. You know, doing all of these things. And at the same time, just because I do all of these things, there's this feminine side of me that just wants to be free. I really do want to be just a soft woman. I really do. And so I made sure I was very vocal about that. Like, I want to be able to just be like the damsel in distress, where I can just, you know, I just want to just
help me, please.
You know, what you want, you know? I really do. And I feel like I have not had that opportunity where I can really be like a woman, like a soft woman, real in her, living in her femininity without having to be this iron woman, hear me roar, and you know, I'm carrying my kids on my back and I'm going to work and I'm whatever. Like, I don't want that to be my whole life story. I really do want to just have a person, a partner in this piece of, like you said, have a partner where I can like rely on you to be the one to just, you know, you want to just love me. I want to be loved. I want to be cared for. I want to be protected. I do. I want somebody who just can talk with me, you know, and not be, and I feel like part of it is like, it's almost like, what is the word? Intimidation. It's like some people, you know, some people are very intimidated when they hear and they see all the things that I'm doing. And it's like, yes, I'm doing all these things, but it's not because I want to do it by myself. It's just because, you know, I want to I have a lot of things I want to accomplish. That doesn't mean I want to accomplish it all by myself though, you know? So
I mean, when I say
a soft woman.
she's like, listen, I just want to be soft.
Like, just carry me, I just want to be
That's how she
carried
did the visual.
sometimes.
A whole bit. Look, we're gonna start doing this soft.
Yes.
And I can't agree with you more. Honestly, sis. I think about I'm always in a place of interrogating why it is that I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm very proud of the things that I am doing, and I'm very conscious of the fact that many of the things I'm doing because I feel like I have to, right? And don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
There's a caveat there. Obviously, I also want to do them, but what I am saying is when I think about I'll use the example of me. I'll use my business as an example, right? How I work my royal behind off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to where y'all know, because y'all my sisters, so y'all already know. I work my behind off, right? And I do that because I have to. Now, again, the caveat is I do love what I do, but I want to not to have to feel like I got to work myself, to the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And feel like, so what I would say to a potential partner, if you're out there, okay, in addition to being, okay, what I would say is when you come, definitely, come correct. And what I mean is with loads of respect, lots of patience, lots of love, lots of laughter, lots of jokes to make me smile, lots of hugs and things like that. And come with lots of understanding and know that there are women like me who have not been able to lay down our armor. And so it may take a little while, right? It might take a bit. So that's where that patience comes in, and knowing that, all right, she's worth the wait, but it might take a bit. And so what I don't want you to do, potential partner, is to attempt to crack open my shell and break me down. But I want you to try to peel away my layers, right? I think that actually seems more helpful, right? And that allows you to get to a deeper level where you get to see, okay, here's one layer peeled away. I see what that looks like, right? I have an appreciation for what that looks like. Here's another layer peeled away. I see what's underneath there. I have an appreciation for what's under there. And so I absolutely would love for a potential partner to be able to handle this paradox of a woman, right? Who, remember, Edwina, we were talking about that alpha submissive post that we also saw.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's a whole different thing.
Yes, indeed. I'm here
different
for
topic.
Well, actually, it's not.
It actually is right here.
It actually is right here. Because, hold on, let me see. Hold on, I showed it to you in person, but the post was saying, oh my gosh, I cannot find it, and I don't want to navigate off of here, but it was saying something about women who are strong, right? And who are deemed like alpha women, but who also want an alpha mate who inspires. God, I'm feeling real poetic tonight. Who inspires? I hear you, Georgia. She said, handle this pair. Yes, honey. Yeah, this paradox of a woman. I know you know that. But who inspires strong, independent women to submit? So that's what, and so that's why I said inspires, not coerces, not forces, right? Not anything, but inspires, and that comes from trust. That comes from us feeling like we're being led and led properly. And so, yeah, I mean, hold on. I see Edwina, because we talked about that. Do you want to add something about, remember that post?
I do remember that post, and I was just like, I feel like that's kind of where I am, where, I'm very much an alpha woman, but at the same time, I am still looking, I don't mind being submissive. Trust and believe, I'm willing, but you have to show me. Okay, you have to exactly give me what I need. Let me, show me that I can go ahead and lay it on down real quick. Okay, but if you cannot, then the natural part of me is to step up and lead. It's just natural. It comes natural to me. So you just have to understand that, and you have to be able to show that you can handle, first of all, an alpha woman.
Yeah.
So you just, like you said, you recognize that, but you're able to still, don't let that intimidate you.
I want to piggyback off of what you're saying, Edwina, because I think a lot of times there's this competition and recognizing we're not in competition. I'm your complement, not your competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the right male, an alpha male, is going to recognize, okay, she adds value to what I'm already trying to accomplish. And so there's an even exchange of vision, of ideas, of passion, of respect. Of that, to me, is a alpha male recognizing, okay, her strength is her beauty. Her strength is her ability to submit to the overall goal or the overall vision of this relationship. And I also wanted to kind of jump in and say that who we are and what we do are two totally different things, right? And being able to separate those two. When I'm in my work and I'm have my work hat on and I'm running my business, when I come home, that's not who I am when I'm at home.
Right.
I'm a totally different person. And I think that alpha male and alpha, y'all going to be able to recognize that between the two of each other. You know what I mean? We run our empires, and then when we come home, we chill, we fall back, and we fall into our perspective.
And we get soft.
No, I love that though, since you said
I love it.
Who we are and what we do are two different things. And very, very in a very transparent moment. At first, when you first said, I'm like, wait a minute, we strive. Listen, we keep it real. And at first I was like, well, that's not what I'm striving for. I know that is what it is. You're right, but that's not what I'm striving for. I'm trying to be, but you're right, because it actually complements what Edwina was saying, is that we will do what we have to do. Right. But that doesn't really give you a full picture of who we are.
Exactly.
Right. And it goes back to what I was saying. Like, I do things that I have to do, not because I necessarily want to do it, because it's at the core of who I am, right? Like I run myself so raggedy because I have to do it. But if you ask me what I really love to do, and Edwina knows this because she loves my collard greens, I love to cook. Like I love being in the kitchen. I mean, I love the things that I do in the ways that I lead outside the home too. Yes, it's a yes and for me, but I would love the opportunity to just kind of like, I got my business, but also I really love like doing stuff around the house and making sure that the house feels like a home, and that everyone feels comfortable and loved and it's a place of safety. But that doesn't reflect in the things that I do, because I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think women, like alpha women, or in general, just women, like we naturally will be submissive when we feel like safe to let like that armor down, and we feel like you said, like it's okay, like it's going to get done. You don't need to run yourself rampant, like, baby, I got it, like, and you really feel that, and feel like you can, like you said before, take that cape off and just relax and like breathe, and like you said, cook or do some other things. I think naturally we just will fall into that submissive role when we feel that way, when we feel safe to do so, and we feel trust that we can do so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it's like, I think that's a big piece, because if you still feeling like, well, wait a minute, maybe not, you're not going to fully be able to be submissive and let your guard down. So that's like that's a huge piece. And that damsel in distress, honey, thing, I will in a minute be a damsel in distress. I ain't trying to do nothing. Even at work, I'm like, I can't put it together. I can't pick it up. Look, help me.
Right.
In a minute, I will be a damsel in distress, honey.
Yeah, y'all see Georgia's comment. She said, why do we always have to show this side first? We need to figure out that part. And I think she's referring to, why is it that we, always feel like we have to show that extra super strong side first? And I think, obviously there are a lot of reasons, and everyone has their own personal reasons. From my perspective, what I see is because, at the end of the day, we are socialized into various systems. I think that that's the clear cut and dry answer. We're socialized into various systems that tell us what our places are, right? From early on. Literally from birth, the images that we see, whether it's on television and the likeness, how do we see women, especially if they're Black and brown women, what type of roles are they playing on television? You know what I mean? And how are they showing up in the media? And what do they look like in music videos and wherever? So I think that, you know, we can't negate that, but that is where the power of this conversation and being a community and saying, hey, let's work to dismantle some of that stuff. Let's do some of that work within ourselves. And then absolutely, I agree. I was getting to that. And so that does impact, as Georgia said, what our parents teach us, right? Because just as we're socialized into systems, we socialize our kids when we raise them. There are many ways, I'm going to be honest, in which I have felt like I had to raise a strong Black girl.
Yes.
Right? I'm just keeping it real. And I know it comes from a place of love and protection, because in my mind, I'm thinking, I know the world is cruel to Black women. And then we can't deny that. Like the data supports that. You know, so it's like, it's one of those things that feel, you know, that tugs at my heart, because then it takes for us to become grown women, right? And have gone through some stuff and shown up in relationships in very problematic ways in some ways. And it's not our fault. It's not our fault. Yeah. In many ways, I mean, thank God for the armor, because if it weren't, then, you know, we'd be bleeding out, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes some of those weapons find ways to penetrate, you know, that armor on a physical. I'm not talking about the spiritual level, so don't jump down my throat, but, you know, on a physical level. But I'm serious. I'm just saying that, you know, it's one of those things where even I'm having this conversation now and I'm saying how much I want to lay my armor down. And guess what? I'm still teaching my Black daughter to stand up for yourself. I'm still teaching her to protect herself. How do you protect yourself? You need armor to do that. You get what I'm saying? I saw what the world will do to Black girls, not just Black women, but to Black girls, to children. We just
absolutely, as an educator, absolutely.
As an educator, but I'm saying the world saw that body cam video was released. I'm just saying. So it's just like, you know, so what do we do? You know, what is it that we do? We have to be prepared. And then it's like, then we gotta, you know, take our 5 steps backwards, undoing all the stuff that we were taught, but taught out of love and protection. You know, it is pros and cons. I absolutely agree. Absolutely.
That's something that it's funny that you said that, because I was talking to a girlfriend about that. And it's like, I had to have that conversation with, you know, Zuri, my daughter, and just talking to her about, like you said, teaching her that she has to be aware of certain things. I'm like, you have to be aware that some people aren't going to see you as a 10-year-old child, unfortunately, because of the color of your skin. They will see you as an adult. They will see you as a threat, you know, and it's sad that we have to take some of that innocence away from our kids. So we have to prepare them, unfortunately, for things that are occurring in society. And sometimes I have to step back a little bit, because I will find myself like, why are you playing around so much? And I started changing that, realizing I was doing that like last year. Well, she's a kid. Like, let her be a kid. She's supposed to be playing around. She's supposed to be silly. Like, why are you acting so simple all the time? You know, I had to check myself on that a couple of years ago and realize, like, no, let her be a kid. Like, she's supposed to be silly. She's supposed to be having fun. You know, she has plenty of time to be serious. But I think that's something that, not intentionally, you know what I mean, that we do, but just like historically from like our upbringing and our experiences, what we've seen, but we have to remember to try to help keep their innocence along with preparing them for this world.
Keep our children's innocence and protect their softness, right? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Goodness gracious.
So let's start to wrap this up. Just as final thoughts, you know, in like a minute or less, you know, thinking back on this, you know, this month, because as you can see, we could really stay on here all night
and chat it up.
We could, I mean, honestly, because at the end of the day, there's so many implications on our lives, whether we're talking about our home lives and careers, you know, life or death. There's so many implications when we talk about relationships in Black and brown women, our relationships with each other, with the outside world, within our communities, and so forth. And so anyway, as we're wrapping up, as for final thoughts, I just want to know, like, what are some ways that maybe you've grown or you know, how have you thought about things differently, whether it's about yourself or about relationships in general? What have you learned about yourself since we've been talking about relationships? Or what have you been working on?
Well, I know for me, just doing that self-work and just realizing and vocalizing like my boundaries and respecting other people's boundaries too. Even like, my daughter, different things like, well, she's not going to want to be who I am, or maybe I want her to wear this because I like it. But if she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. So just being vocal about my boundaries and my needs, but also respecting other people's boundaries, including my child.
Yeah. Wow. And for me, just I was doing some, I'm always, reflecting and talking about relationship. And one of the things I just know about myself, and I said this earlier, I think maybe like our first episode was how like I'm always seeing people for their potential, and how it's a good thing. Like you want to see people for their potential, but at the same time, it is a double-edged sword, and it can be used against me, because I end up seeing you for not who you are like right now, but it's kind of like I see where you can be. And at the same time, it puts me in a place where it's like I'm trying to hold on to you and it's not going anywhere. So it's like I'm learning to let people go, especially those who have already let go. And so I'm coming to that place where it's like, you know what? It was great, whatever it was, I just gotta let people go. So that's where, as far as the whole relationship piece goes, and that's for anybody, whether it's a work relationship, I gotta let a workplace go. If it no longer suits me, the potential is no longer there, I'm not seeing any growth, it gotta go. The same thing with a romantic relationship, friendship, whatsoever. If there's no growth happening, if it's stagnant, if there's nothing beyond the fact that I'm just seeing it for what it could be, it has to go.
I know that's right.
Yeah. No, I think I would say the same thing, doing that, just continuing to do that inner work, focusing on self, focusing on healing, focusing on what joy for me looks like, what peace for me looks like, understanding that seasons come to an end. And like Edwina said, being at peace with letting things go, what no longer fits you, what no longer serves you, being okay and being at peace with letting things that no longer serve you go. And I think the greatest relationship out of all of this is that we'll have is with ourselves first, and just embracing that, starting with yourself first. Yeah.
Start with yourself first. I love that. Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about boundaries this month, right? So what may seem to be physical boundaries, but for me, mainly emotional boundaries. And I'm still struggling with it, but it is an area that I am working on, and that I really paid a lot of attention to. And so one specific example is just around, stopping all that doggone explaining. I posted about that in BGSO before, but if I need something for me, then I don't need to explain to anybody why I need that. No is a complete sentence. And so if I've said no, then that is it, so, those types of things. And so those actually support my emotional boundaries. Because the moment we start getting caught up in that loop over and over again, explaining, then we're giving sometimes too much of ourselves to folks that don't deserve it. I see that Georgia said she learned how to be soft and submissive in the past few years, and had been with her partner for 5. It's always a learning experience, and she's always learning how not to allow her past trauma to find victory in her present love. So thank you so much.
I talked about that on one episode. Very true. That.
So thank you all so much for tuning in. If you are joining now, please let us know what you thought about this discussion. Was there anything, I'm going to use a protocol that I used in a workshop I facilitated earlier. Is there anything that we shared that affirmed your thinking, your previous thinking and your previous beliefs, and what maybe challenged your previous thinking and beliefs? I'd love to know that. Please place that in the chat or in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or on BGSO in our group. Again, was there anything, not just from tonight, but from the entire month, but especially tonight, that affirmed your prior thinking and your prior beliefs? Was there anything that challenged it? We'd love to learn more about it. And we do read all of the comments. I see my mother said, I'm working on not holding grudges when you cross me. We'll feel it. All right. Listen, I know that to be true, right? And I probably got that honest. But all right, it has been an amazing, it's been an amazing evening. I'm just looking at another comment that came through. Thank you so much, Georgia, for sharing that. And we absolutely, yes, I am your voice of reason, Mom. We absolutely enjoyed chatting with you all. Please let us know what you'd love to hear more about. Georgia has already told us what she'd love to hear more about. Maybe how some of these topics, including this one, relates to the ways in which we socialize and rear our daughters. And so if there's anything else that you would love to learn more about, then please let us know in the comments. Until next time. Oh, and do not forget, do we have an episode next week, y'all?
No.
Oh, worry. All right, no episode next week. So if you don't see anything, it's not because we forgot. It's because it's the 5th Thursday of the month, and we only broadcast 1st through